But welcome. We've got a great panel here. Okay. Okay, this session actually asks is one simple question, and I believe this is one of the most important questions of the entire summit. So AI is creating enormous wealth. How do we make sure the wealth circles back to the people and the places that make it possible? Think about what a region gives when it hosts the AI revolution. It gives land, it gives power, it gives water, it gives young people, and in return, what flows back? Too often, the answer is not enough. Values flow out and does not return. That is the opposite of circulation. In nature, nothing is wasted. Everything returns to feed the system that creates it. Our forest is the original circulation economy. Our economy should learn from this. And this is why today we introduce this new bold idea, the tribe people's credit, a way to turn corporate social investment from an act of charity into a system, a way for tech capital to invest in people, skills, water, small businesses, and be recognized for it, and the way that carbon credit recognizes climate action. It is a new idea. It is not finished. And this is exactly why we are here, to test it, to challenge it, and to shape it, with exactly the right people on stage. So a warm welcome to our incredible panel. First, I would like to introduce Mr. Jitesh V. Pittal, IAS, Chairman and Managing Director of TGSP DCL, the man who keeps the lights on and who sits exactly where the AI demands meets the everyday household. And second, Mrs. Osman Manzar, founder of the Digital Empowerment Foundation, who has spent more than 2 decades carrying digital opportunity to Indian villages. And Dr. India Budani, Executive Director of the Indonesian Business Council for Sustainable Development, bringing the views from across the Global South, because the question belongs to all of us. Okay, and let us begin here with the host, Mr. Pittal. The AI economy is creating enormous new values. From where you sit, what can state governments and businesses do to make sure the benefits are shared across regions, workers and communities, and not locked inside a few technical hubs?
Yeah, good afternoon, and it's an honor to be on stage with such esteemed panelists. I am here in official capacity and personal capacity as such, so I'll mix both. So I look at AI in a way of supporting communities. Is just as even Honorable MP from South Africa and the Honorable Chairman Cedric Floric had mentioned, it's a weapon or it's a tool. So the way you look at it. So I feel that I am a mechanical engineer by training, and now I'm heading a department that deals with power distribution. So in 3 months, I was able to learn a lot about power distribution using AI. So we may look at it with a lot of suspicion, but to all the youth who are there in this room, now we don't have an excuse when it comes to learning. The tool is in our hand. It's upon us how we use it to empower ourselves with knowledge, with information, and to get ahead in the world. So I think the central question is to teach the communities how to use AI in their lives. That is one thing. Secondly, regarding the adverse impact that data centers or AI would have in our lives, I think again, we need to redefine the question. So again, I'll quote Mr. Cedric here. We need to see how we can use those frameworks in empowering ourselves to come up with the solution. For example, I was discussing with Mr. Gitesh here that we need to see how we can come up with better agricultural models under some transmission lines so that the communities benefit largely and they don't resist, but they welcome these lines. So I think that is where we need to find our solutions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Manzar, people call apply AI the great equalizer. The promise that anyone with a smartphone can now build once what needed a whole engineering team. From your 20 years on the ground, is this promise real? Can AI truly become a ladder of grassroots entrepreneurs?
AI data centers are itself becoming so questionable to belong to a land of somebody else that creating a grassroots entrepreneurship is a faraway question. But I would also like to bring back our discussion from the circularity perspective, right? In the last 30 years, circular economy, circularity has become a very hot topic from the perspective of, and we did a research of on doing a circular thing on mobile. You know, when you buy a mobile, do you really imagine the depth of a mobile, the whole circular life cycle of a mobile, like how the machine has been used, how it has been created, is it going to be used as much, and after its death, how are you going to, create like in the natural system, everything is recyclable, perishable and things like that, but not really machinistic. And from that perspective, I was just thinking is that, the whole data center thing or the technological thing, in terms of circularity and in terms of relating to the grassroots entrepreneurship or something, the question that we need to ask ourselves is that this entire machinery, this entire thing is going to use the local land, local air, local water, local power. All of this are sovereign, right? And in this entire discussion, even in this room, there is no community. The landowners are not here. The air owners are not here. The power owners are not here. The water air owners are not here, And we are still discussing about the circularity, So if we are going to use this entire thing, the first circularity is that are they the most important aspect of the consideration or belonging, right? And because AI data centers are parachuting from somewhere else, they are having a residence of data that belongs to somebody else, right? It is also serving through the cloud somebody else. The local utilization is by the local community is almost zero. There is no vision that we have that how they can be used in running the whole data center, or it's subsidizing it and so on and so forth. And so there are more questions, I would say, but one sure and short question is that in this entire circularity, the most important stakeholder is the least participant in the discussion. And that's very, very important to find an answer of circularity and in terms of local stakeholdership. And then automatically we might get into that how it can create local entrepreneurship or a grassroots entrepreneurship, their participation, their contribution, and so on and so forth.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Budani, as more global South countries explore AI innovation funds, do we need shares in operatable standards, rules that protect people and give businesses the confidence to invest across borders?
Thank you for the question and thank you for engaging me. As introduced by the moderator, I just want to remind you that I'm coming from the business association who committed to sustainable development. So my answer will represent my work, not only private sector, but the private sector who already committed to sustainable development. So answering to your question, I think the fund is not only to financing the technology itself, but the fund should finance trust, inclusion, and also circularity, and also local adaptability. So maybe we can reflect or imagine the GHG or the Earth with global warming. We can imagine the heat. The heat is actually good for people. All of us need heat, for agriculture, for living, etc. But if it's not well governed, then it will create a global warming. So I think it's the same with AI. I think in the morning we can see some presenters talk about the benefit of AI, etc., etc. But again, if it's not well governed, then it can be harmful to people. So that's why I think in our session, we also talk about interoperability and people's tier credit, because I think that's what AI should address. Not only giving back to the planet or circularity, for example, but also to people. And the people consist of workers, local communities, MSMEs, and society as a whole.
Thank you. So, the people's credit test. Let me put the big idea on the table. Mr. Patel, what would a tiered people's credit make possible for Indians' AI-led growth that today's system cannot?
How would people's credit? I didn't get that.
Let me put the big idea on the table. Okay, so what would a tiered people's credit make possible for Indians' AI-led growth that today's system cannot?
Right. So tiered people's credit. So I would look at it in this way that first we need to put people at the center. So even as our honorable minister who heads our department, Sri Bhatti Vikramarka, he was very clear on his focus that we have to keep people at the center. So we are not chasing technology, but we are looking at how technology can help people. And I would say that when we are looking at getting the power or the required water and the land that is needed, so we have to always work on modalities which will have people at the center. So for example, there are various land pooling models, or there are ways of creating clusters where the data center can come and without disrupting the lives of rural communities, draw more power. So the answer lies in creating infrastructure in such a way that it does not disrupt the communities and it takes care of the people who are not in the room. So as government and as administration, we would like to create those clusters which are having sufficient water availability, put those checks in place so that they have circularity in itself, use recycled water and provide renewable energy. So just like even Naveen sir specified, it's a very simple math that all the people in this our coming generation need to understand. To create 1 megawatt hour 1 megawatt capacity round the clock, how much of solar energy is needed? That it's not a complicated math. So it's like roughly 5 megawatt of solar capacity with maybe 16 megawatt hour of battery. So as Indians, we have to write our own story. We cannot be based on lithium chemistry for battery and stay there. There is sodium coming up, there is zinc coming up. So I think the youth needs to put their energy and script our own Indian story so that we have a solution to all these points. So coming back to the people's credit model, I think that in the near future, I think even computational power, those tokens will have to be made available to the last tier people so that they solve their own problems. So I think we are there through having a very good telecom infrastructure and having subsidized electricity in our state. So that tiered credit model is already solved. We just need to see how we can balance it so that the businesses are welcome, yet the people don't suffer. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's talk about the micro entrepreneur thread here. The app economy created generations of digital entrepreneurs. Should we stop asking how AI will replace jobs and start asking how it will create millions of AI-enabled micro entrepreneurs? Mr. Manzar, is this realistic in the village you work with? Do you think this would be realistic?
No, not at all. And since AI infrastructure, AI as an infrastructure or data as an infrastructure we are looking at is still futuristic, right? So I would like to give example from something from the past. For example, digital infrastructure itself, like digitization, e-governance, connectivity, itself has been a kind of infrastructure for the last 30 years, right? We have been aspiring. People are here from the government and everybody knows that. But just take Telangana figure itself. Telangana figure is out of 38 million people here, 38 million people, about more than 100% connectivity is there in urban area, which is actually populate 14 million only. And the rural area populate 24 million, but only 11 million people have connectivity. So more than 60% people in rural areas in Telangana haven't seen internet, haven't been connected, haven't played with it, haven't paid through internet, right? And digital itself is the efficiency infrastructure, digital infrastructure, the entitlement infrastructure, the welfare infrastructure, everything today happens through digital, but yet so many people are not connected, right? So if you look at it from the circularity perspective or evenly giving everything to everyone, it's not even happened for the last 30 years on something that we adopted as the futuristic technological infrastructure. And if you look at directly relating to poverty alleviation, out of 38 million people in Telangana, government itself claims that 32 million people, out of 38, 32 million people rely on white ration card. That means they get rice and the basic necessity from the government as a poverty alleviation program. These are not my data, these are government data. Government itself says that we are giving. But that means even at a basic level of fighting poverty alleviation and connecting it to technology as a return, we are not circular, So therefore we need to really ask ourselves and plan ourselves in a manner that is 4 decades in proof, and we can learn from the past. Yeah.
Thank you.
Not to defend or anything, but so the pace of data generation or reporting has changed a lot. So in fact, before this position, I was the collector, district collector. It's a district head position of the remotest district of Telangana. It's called Bhadradri Kottagudem. So I have been through to those locations where the internet supposedly has not reached, and I have seen that the change happening before my eyes. So the number has changed a lot. I would say apart from the forest, deep forest areas, there is no location in Telangana that does not have internet reach. Even in the deep forest areas, to alleviate security issues, we have set up towers. So I think the number has changed a lot. And that is where the latest technologies change the scenario. So secondly, the ration card, I think we can have 2 perspectives at it. Either we look at it as food security or we can look at it as poverty alleviation. So we have moved on from poverty alleviation towards food security. So I understand the perspective where it is seen as a measure of poverty, but the perspective of administration is to have food security out of the question so that people can work for other things. So that's all. Yeah.
And I also want to say that yes, you are right, because on poverty index, it's only 7% people are poor in Telangana. It's one of the best states. There's no doubt about it. But for poverty alleviation connecting to food security, it has a different...
I agree. I don't mean to defend. I am not intending to defend. Sorry, I ate into Dr. Zinda's time.
So third point I would like to work on is the social license thread. So another question for you, Mr. Manzar. As data centers spread, companies need a social license to operate. The community genuinely accepted. What does real engagement with communities look like beyond the press release?
Her or I think it's
Both
her.
of you. You can bring him.
Okay.
You can start.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think the tools about tiered people credit is quite new for me. I don't think in Indonesia we have this terminology before, at least not in a business association. But the concept is actually already there since we talk and promoting sustainable business. So I think there is a mechanism that should be clear when we talk about tiered people credit. Like first, how the company can bring benefit to the people, to the local community, and what kind of benefit that we should give to the local community. And maybe talking about the data, where the place is and so on, I think that's also important. And I think close to the interoperability standard, that could be also part of the interoperability in the future.
And just to add into that one is that, our life moved from basic literacy to then information literacy, digital literacy, and now we have reached to a point where it has been further bifurcated into data. So, and data collection is usually happens top down. The data collectors are somebody different, and we are the data, right? The people are the data. So I think that one of the things that we can think of is that how fast and how intricately we can make our population data literate, in terms of its importance, what kind of data they should share, they should not share, the complete, the 360-degree literacy about contextual literacy about data literacy, and that will add value into being part of the development, data-driven society, which be much more, agency-oriented rather than consumeristic-oriented.
And Dr. Budini, the Global South has usually adopted technology inventions elsewhere. Is AI our chance to finally co-create common standards, share talent pipelines, our own innovation ecosystems? What would it take from India and Indonesia to build together?
Yeah, I think it's not a question on how we use the AI technology anymore, but this is an opportunity for the Global South country to co-create. So maybe the question now is, what kind of AI technology do we need and how we can contribute to develop this? For example, in Indonesia, we use AI in several sectors like agriculture, fisheries, and also some sustainability-related topic like calculating emission and so on. But I believe there is so many areas that we can tap in with AI technology, still wide area. And then we also talk about people, skill set, like how to use this AI, not only creating the AI technology itself, but the user. Then we have to increase their capacity. For example, if we talk about the farmers or the fishermen, because the fishermen now also promoted to use the AI technology for marketing their product and so on. But not all the fishermen can use that AI. And then we also talk about infrastructure. If they have AI technology, they have the handphone, but they don't have connection, then that's another question. So I think co-creation is good, but going towards that direction, there are still a lot of homeworks. But of course, we don't have to wait until everything is there. We can start to think about it now. So I note several message for this topic. First is that social license for AI, that was your question before, right? So AI infrastructure must create feasible local benefit, like through jobs, skills, and suppliers, transparency, community. And last month, for example, we provide capacity building for MSME in Kalimantan, or maybe you said Borneo. So it's far from the capital city. They may have lack of internet access, but we start to educate them how to use this technology. And then when we talk about social license, actually now it's not very, harmful for a company if they're not tap in the social issue of AI, because I think the local community is still not aware of the risk in the future in terms of AI technology. But I think it's the time to start. And then the second message is that people spread it as share value. So the company should treat that as reinvestment, not only charity. Why people talk about climate change, circular economy? because they feel they will need it in the future. Maybe now it's not very harmful for the business, but in the future, if they talk about policy, for example, then it's operational cost. If they talk about flood, drought and everything, that's also operational cost. So we have to bring that narrative into that direction. And the last one is measure real impact. I think not only tracking the capital and data center, but also renewable energy, water, and also social aspect like local procurement and so on.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to just open the floor for a few minutes with any questions. So if anyone, just please raise your hand and start with your name and who's the question for, and ask the question in one breath.
Yes, please do raise your hand.
So hello. Hi panel. I'm Tejas Yadav. I'm from Sriyas Institute and I'm a pre-final year CSE AIML student. So this is my question regarding the unnecessary answers and questions given to the AI, which is being a problem related to multiple millions of gallons of water losing every single day and every minute, because it is a concern that people should be compliant on whatever questions they're asking, right? The people ask many questions and different questions are leading to different outcomes, because the models which we are using high amount of data and also high amount of power. The amount of power which we are using should be related to what we question to it, right? So many people do not have the knowledge. So as Sir said, Osama Sir said, people in Telangana are a little having 70% of people or 60% of people do not have the idea to internet. So these people are also these people are not in the idea of having internet and not having the networking of the chat AI or chat GPTs or everything. But what happens is the people who know or the people who use it for fun, are there any regulations for them so that we can reduce the usage of water or the energy or power sources? And also it makes a huge impact on our governments and our whole country's system as of now. Data centers are being polluting. So what do you think, sir?
I was wondering, was that a question or a statement? I think
There was a question regarding, sir, regulations. So what are the regulations do we need to keep for people to answer our question?
Okay, let's go 1 year back, and let's remember that AI and all these AI tools have come up just now, but then the video channels have always been there. So you could also say the same thing about video channels. It is using the same amount of energy and data. So, but we still view various videos on various channels for entertainment, right? So it's, I think, undemocratic if you try to stop someone from asking any questions to these AI tools. We cannot judge which is useful and which is not, right? I'm sure many of us get scolded by our parents or spouse for watching useless YouTube videos, right? So it's same logic applies. So the power is in your hand. You decide what to do with it. And I would say that institutions like the Empowerment Foundation, Digital Empowerment Foundation, they make you aware of the pitfalls and the capabilities that you can gain. So I think as a citizen group, we ourselves have to motivate we have to motivate ourselves to ask the right questions and use it in a positive way.
Yes, sir. That's what.
also just to add, there is a difference between just being connected and meaningfully connected, right?
Yep, that's what.
I'll give you one example. For example, using an UPI method of making a payment or doing a transaction or getting a direct benefit transfer is a meaningful way of connectivity, right? But just watching a video or anything or doing WhatsApp may not be, because whenever you need to do some regulatory work or some work which is related to getting a payment is actually, either you're losing a money or getting a money, right?
Yes,
and from that perspective, in India, in rural India, out of 910 million people, only 10% people do UPI payment. Only 10%. But it looks like that everybody uses UPI payment.
It does.
But it is not. So it's very interesting is that whether it's data center or AI or chat GPT, I mean the meaningful utilization of connectivity or being data is very, very important, and that's where rule regulation comes.
Yeah.
And that's where the role of those kind of body comes, which is responsible for creating that kind of ecosystem in the villages.
Yes.
Okay, we've just got told we've run out of time, but so I just want to close with this image we began with. In nature, nothing is wasted. Everything is returned to feed the system that creates it. So if we build our AI ecosystem the same way, where values circle back to the people who make it possible, then the global south will not just host the AI evolution, it will own its share. Please join me in thanking this remarkable panel. Thank you so much.